What's going on, everybody? What's happening today? How we doing? Does it feel like a Friday? Does it feel like a Friday? Feels like a Friday to me. Salute, everybody. Christian Wilkins is out. That'll be the focus of the monologue. What a shame. I like the guy a lot. Thought he'd be a really good player. It's not on the new regime. It's not on Spy Tech and Pete, that's for sure. And Tom Telesco tried to sign a really good guy. Very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate. Modelo Friday, Cisco. Modelo. You got my Modelo shirt. My Modelo patch. Where is it? There it is. Modelo. Yes. All right, let's have fun. We're going to play Pete Carroll's press conference. You might have heard it, but this audience didn't. We're going to play that maybe in the monologue. Bill Williamson, Raider Insider, probably going to play. Today's Lester Hayes Day. Today is Lester Hayes Day for our alumni. How much time we got, Bobby?
A minute.
Okay. I was up early today. I was on NBC at 6:15. Ooh, that was early. God, who do the ESPN have for their actresses today, man? They got some star-studded actresses. Trust and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different. I have never seen ESPN. I love ESPN. I work in sports. Why wouldn't I love ESPN? I've never seen ESPN put so many goofy people on SportsCenter who are just like D-list actors. They're just like acting like fools. Remember when it was Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen, Kenny Mayne? Kenny Mayne would have fun. Chris Myers, Linda Cohn. Jeez.
2 to 5 on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM KRLB Las Vegas.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio, your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT here. Friday, it's a Modelo Friday. Say it with me, Modelo, Modelo, Modelo. Have a bucket of Modelos with me right after the show today. I got to pick up my wife at the airport at 2:30 if her flight's on time. And if it is, we'll get home and we'll hang out in the backyard, and I will have a bucket of Modelos on ice on Friday, rewarding myself for a great week of Raider Nation Radio, where I don't do most of the work. The coaches speak. We play their press conferences. We interview people. We take some calls. I want to thank you, the great fans of the Raider Nation, all the non-Raider fans, sports fans that tune in as we're growing our YouTube channel. And my son is coming up with some prizes to give away. We got to get to 10,000 subs. That would be 10,000 subscriptions to get to a goal of ours. And we're feeling pretty good about that now. But we need you to sign up for free and be a part and watch the show and see what we do. Because by today, you'll know about my Christian Wilkins body language. If you're watching the show, body language is a big thing. Fox News used to have this blonde gal would come on and she'd do a segment on body language. And I think if you could see the show, you could see when I pop a vessel. You can see when I lose my mind. You can see when I'm calm and cool. You can talk to us during the breaks on YouTube, JT the Brick YT, and on the Raiders mobile app, which is sounding beautiful as I drive out to Deep Henderson every morning from Summerlin, and I'm listening on the mobile app to the morning show, which has done a really nice job as they're broadcasting live early in the morning, 7 a.m., right there, but they got a great setup. I was on with Vince today. As Vinny was doing some looking around at practice today, I jumped in with him for a little bit. Got back from practice. That's the third practice in a row, and there were no fans today. So there's been a little confusion. I want to clear it up. And I have the dates on every opportunity that they have fans out. So this is what I'm saying right now as what you need to do. Any day that the Raiders are having fans, and I'll give you those dates, anybody can come. Pete Carroll said it today. He wants more people there. Pete Carroll said he'll handle it. Just get there. I saw the new parking lot to get over there on the backside of practice. Do whatever you need to do, but go. You got to go to practice. He wants you there. They got beautiful stands set up with shade, water. They got food trucks. You got to go. So some days like today, I went there. It was a closed practice. Okay, but the days that are open, you are invited to come from the head coach. So try to get out to a few practices if you can. Look, if you don't live in Vegas, and even if you live in Vegas, you got to plan because practice is early. It's 8:30 in the morning. You want to get there before that. You might have a job. You might have kids at camp or in summer school, whatever. But if you're here, the Raiders would like you to go out there. So let's talk about that. All right. So let's open up the show with the big topic, Christian Wilkins, which is a really sad topic for me because I wanted this kid, this young man, to be great with the Raiders. All intentions were, when Tom Telesco signed him to that big free agent deal, that he would come in and pair with Max Crosby and continue to go to Pro Bowls, and we might have the best defensive line in football. Remember, Malcolm Kuntz was hurt. If he was healthy coming off his career year, the Raiders would have the foundation set with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby to be the best defensive line in football, possibly. It would definitely be in the top 5 because Max is not going to miss a Pro Bowl, and Christian Wilkins hasn't been missing Pro Bowls. But something went wrong. Something went wrong. Now, as we begin, when we talk about former coaches and former GMs, there's a high level of respect on my show that you don't see on blogs and you don't see on the internet where there's a relationship built and you wish those people well. Not many people said when Christian Wilkins was signed that it was a bad deal. It was expensive. We did take calls and have guests on who said, man, that's a pretty expensive contract, but he deserves it. He's a good player. And then he got hurt. And you cannot sit here and ruin this athlete because he got hurt. He suffered a really serious foot injury, and he tried to get it right, and it's not right. Pete Carroll's been about it, that this is a process. The process wasn't going along good. But then at some point, something happened with the trainers or the doctors or Christian Wilkins and his agent and what he thought he needed to do to get better and what the professional football team, the Raiders, thought that he needed to do in his rehab to get better. Was it asking, as some are reporting, for him to have another surgery again? Again, I haven't talked to anybody on that, but enough people are speculating on that. Did Christian Wilkins want to rehab his way? It didn't work. Okay, so Christian Wilkins did not live up to the standards, and this is an opinion, my opinion. He did not live up to the standards of what the Raiders wanted to see with his process of getting back on the field. That's the story. That's from the inside. That's what's happening. When the Raiders put out their statement yesterday, the franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field. Okay, we know that. But here's the bombshell. With no clear path or plan for future return to play from Christian, the transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move on. Let me repeat. With no clear path or plan for future return to play from Christian. So the Raiders had enough belief and evidence that Christian Wilkins was not doing what they needed him to do to get back and play football. That's why a grievance was filed. There's a union. You know, we've been talking about the union here over the last couple of weeks. The players' union's a mess. Lloyd Howell out, everybody, J.C. Treader, it's a mess at the top. I remember Gene Upshaw coming through. Al Davis was the head of the union for a long time. And now the union seems to be a mess. But Christian Wilkins has the right as a player who's in a union to file a grievance to get the remaining money that is owed to him. Just like you would. Just like I would, or anybody who has a job and the job ends and you get fired with cause, or you get let go. You have the right to hire an attorney, or if you're a union person, to have a union job, to have the union represent you to get the remaining money that you have. And that's what makes this delicate. And as you know, I don't get involved. When there's lawyers involved, I'll wait to hear what happens. But I thought that statement from the Raiders said a lot. Now, after being at practice today, and I didn't have one-on-ones with anybody. I wasn't sitting down with John Spytek or anybody. But the sense that I have, and this is just my opinion being around this team so long, is that there's a new sheriff in town. Okay? There's a new head coach in town who has a commitment to excellence, but he has a different style of the way he coaches and this competition thing, which we told you is no joke. Okay? So if you're competing to get back on the field and be healthy, you might not want to be jumping around like an idiot to New Kids on the Block or another band and dancing around in Crocs. You might want to just get in your lane and listen to the trainers, listen to the team, listen to your agent, whatever you're doing. Be quiet, be silent, and just go to work. Because Pete Carroll's different. And Al Davis was different, and he's the Maverick, and he's one of the greatest Hall of Famers of all time. There is a different way to act professional when you're injured. Okay? I don't think, knock wood, I've ever called in sick in my life. Knock wood. When you need it, you need it. God forbid something happens and you got to call in sick, right? Never done that. When it comes to people who do it a lot, it becomes a problem. I wasn't there for Christian Wilkins' workouts. I don't know what he was doing with the Raiders behind the scenes trying to be available to get back. He was not available, and he has been released from his services. He was not reliable in this organization at this time for the money that already cashed, which is enormous, and I'll get to that in a minute, enormous. And the Raiders believe that they could get back some of this money, and they have the right to do it. They might not get it back. Wilkins might win in a grievance. We don't know. And that is not my business, and I'll let that play out in the courts. Lawyers are involved, as Vinny Bonsignor tweeted out. But the bigger picture is what the Raiders now do to win. And before I get there, I want to say this again. Davante Adams came to the team. Love Davante. Come on, love him. Said he wanted to play for the Raiders. Bought a beautiful home. His grandmother gets to see him play. He couldn't get out of here quick enough. He could not get out of here quick enough. And he got out of here. And we wish him well. But he didn't want to be here. At one point, he didn't want to be here. He left the team. He forced his way out. I'm not saying Christian Wilkins did the same thing, but he did not live up to the standards, it looks like, of a player in this organization and how they needed to get back on the field. We all agree on that, if you're believing that, and he'll have his side to the story. Now, I said this when he signed and I interviewed him. I interviewed him first. We had him on pretty quick. And I had him on when we had media day last year and all that. I like the player. He was on Hard Knocks in Miami. He was the toast of Hard Knocks. He was smiling. He was fun. He was getting to the quarterback. Hell of a player. And then the Raiders signed him, the former regime, to a monster contract. Monster contract to come in here and be great. Now, if you listen to me, I often say that we need more Pro Bowlers around here. We had one. Oh, my God, I didn't have to look. There was a Pro Bowler in front of me. Max is a Pro Bowler. Gino's a Pro Bowler. Brock's an all-pro Pro Bowler. And Christian Wilkins is a Pro Bowler. We're trying to make Isaiah Palomalo a Pro Bowler. Jacorian Bennett a Pro Bowler. Ashton Genty. We had one with Christian Wilkins. And I did say on this broadcast, Wilkins is too big to fail. We can't afford to lose this guy. He's too expensive to lose. I talked to a former executive today who said, this is a big day for the Raiders. I go, what do you mean? It's a great day for Jamarcus Russell. I said, what? He said, no longer is Jamarcus Russell the biggest bust in Raider history. No way. Jamarcus only got 30+ million. That's not a lot of money today. That's all Jamarcus got. He didn't get 140 million. He didn't get Deshaun Watson 230 million. He had the highest signing bonus in the history of the NFL for a rookie quarterback, and they got rid of that rule and they put a rookie cap because of Jamarcus Russell. He's out. Christian Wilkins is officially the worst contract in Raider history, in my opinion. It's officially the worst, and there's been some bad ones. There's been some bad ones. The amount of money that this young man already got guaranteed in the bank is alarming. But that's the way the contract was set up. Big free agent contract, a lot of money up front, right? A lot of guaranteed money up front, and then the back end. That's why I believe I side with ownership, not players normally, and I love the players. I believe that NFL contract shouldn't be guaranteed for this example. NBA player does this, he gets all his money, unless it's a grievance situation. But how many guys in the NBA sign big deals and then it turned out to be a bum? And they got all the money. So if the Raiders get back some of this money, it's going to be good for the Raiders. Again, I'm not a capologist, but it'll be good for the Raiders. The other point that I want to make. So this contract is a nightmare, but it's not John Spytek's problem and Pete Carroll. They saw the player. They witnessed their standard, which is different now of John Spytek and Pete Carroll. Their standard is much higher than Christian Wilkins. That's what we learned today, which is great news going forward. If you want to be glasses half full, you could be glasses half empty today. Do whatever the hell you want. But now we have prime evidence that Mark Davis hired the right guys who said, no. See the guy in the rehab? Not one of us. Not one of us. No. That's just my opinion. Again, I'm not putting words in Pete Carroll's mouth and John Spytek. I'm an opinionated guy. This is my opinion. They looked at him, get him out. Everything in the building says, I'm in, compete. He's not one of them. I wish he was. I really like the guy as a player. I think he's exactly what the Raiders needed. And I said on the morning tailgate today, and I let it fly when I said, the Raiders lately, since Vegas, have been a graveyard for defensive tackles, a graveyard. Everybody who we seem to draft, everyone we seem to want to bring in to play defensive tackle, it's a disaster. And now John Spytek brought in a couple of new defensive tackles who seem to be great, and they're young and they don't cost anything. And those guys are going to step up. That's how I see it. The monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. I don't celebrate an injury. Christian Wilkins got hurt. Did he get hurt celebrating? Okay, I get it. He's a good guy. I'm not making him out to be a convicted felon. I wish it would have worked because I believe the core of this team needs players at his skill set. We don't have enough. And Pete Carroll is getting guys like Darian Porter, former wide receiver, now corner, because he thinks the skill set is similar to like a Richard Sherman. Bravo, let's get guys like that. Tonka Hemingway, why was he drafted? Well, they saw something at defensive tackle that they believe he could play now. God forbid Christian Wilkins is out or Adam Butler got hurt. So I think the Raiders, I don't want to say they knew this was coming. They didn't. Because they wanted the kid to you want this guy to do well because you paid him all this money. You don't want to give him this free money after 5 games and say don't ever come back again, but it didn't work out. And you could be really bitter about it or not. You know, there's some tweets out there about some of the bad contracts over the decades. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad contracts. There's been some good ones. Max Crosby, a 4th-round pick. I mean, we got a new standard here. Antonio Pierce had a high standard. Rich Bisaccia. Say what you will about Josh McDaniels. He came from the Patriot dynasty. They had a really high standard. You hated the guy. He's not a good head coach. That's a fact. He came in with a tremendously high standard. Didn't work. Mark bought him out of his contract. He's gone. So it's all been to bring in the right people at the right time for the right money. Some people are overpaid. Some people are underpaid. They earn a contract. I don't know what the world's going to look like 2 years from now with Christian Wilkins. I don't root for people to fail. I hope he gets healthy, his foot heals, and he plays again. But I'm really disappointed it didn't work out with the Las Vegas Raiders because the intention was to bring a superstar in the prime of his career to help the team and Max Crosby, and this failed miserably. It failed miserably, but due to injury. And last thing, as I told my dad today, as he saw it on SportsCenter, and we were talking about this is very important too. The only thing that would have been worse is if Christian Wilkins never got injured, never been hurt, and he just turned out to be a bust. All of a sudden, Christian Wilkins starts to get the money, right? Gets the money, buys a mansion, buys a bunch of cars, gets fat, can't get off the ball. And then the Raiders go, oh, my God, he's not the player that Tom Telesco brought in. We got to cut him. That didn't happen. He was let go because of an injury, and the injury couldn't be made right. I'm not blaming people, doctors, trainers, second opinions. That's way over my pay grade. But I'm really bummed out it didn't work with this guy, because we need multiple Pro Bowlers in the prime of their career on this team. And I have a feeling they're going to be developed. Pro Bowlers are going to be developed here better than they have been in the past. Because I believe in the eye of John Spytek and what he wants to do. And I totally believe that Pete Carroll is one of the best head coaches / personnel evaluators in football. He'll evaluate a player. And wouldn't it be great to know, it's none of my business, what John and Pete really thought of Christian Wilkins? Wouldn't it be good to know? It's none of our business. They're pros. But I wonder what they thought of Christian Wilkins when they saw him smiling and acting the fool, or doing something stupid, or doing something not up to standard in the building to their liking. We'll never know. And maybe Christian didn't do anything bad in his mind, but he didn't realize that people didn't like his behavior or his work ethic in rehab. I don't think that information is going to get to me anytime soon, but eventually it will. Eventually it will, like Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and many others where I kept my mouth shut because I'm a pro, and I'm not here to break blogging story first on the health of a guy's foot fracture. 702-365-9200. Everybody will be held accountable on this football team for their behavior and their ability to compete at Pete Carroll's standard. If you're not going to compete at Pete's standard, you will not be here. Chris in West Oakland, start us off. How are you, Chris?
Hey, JT. Well, remember about 5 weeks ago when you did your show, which player on the roster that you thought needed to be the most worried about their job? And I kind of blew you away when I said Christian Wilkins. I sort of saw this coming, but not this quick. I thought it was going to be a case where maybe he was going to have trouble getting on the field halfway through the year. He's just not healthy, and they just cut ties with him because they're tired of dealing with it. I had no idea it was going to happen this quick as training camp's just getting rolling. And I don't know, actions speak louder than words. The Raiders' actions yesterday to me spoke pretty strongly what they think of Christian Wilkins. You pretty much, I'm going to reiterate what you said most of your monologue. I feel the exact same way. Injuries are injuries. We don't know, we'll never know how bad it is. And I know how union processes work. There's no guarantee. I mean, there's a good chance Wilkins will get his money back out of this. But what they have shown, this organization, this new regime, let's be honest, the Raiders have got it wrong for a long time. I'm a diehard fan saying that. But with this group, I believe what they're showing, Spytek, Brady, and Carroll, the collaboration, whoever's running it and calling the shots, there's a new standard here. We're not going to put up with this anymore. Like you said, things have changed in Raiderland. And you know what? I'm old school. A lot of Raider fans hate the fact that they've gone outside the organization, outside the old school way. But let's be honest as Raider fans, JT, the old school way has failed for a lot of years now. I'm glad to see there's some new blood. I'm glad to see there's a new regime. And while I'm sad and disappointed this didn't happen, because this kid was supposed to be a monster next to Max Crosby, we're never going to get to see that. I'm glad this organization is showing basically put up or shut up. We're not playing around anymore. If you can't get on the field, or worse yet, give the impression that you're not trying to get back on the field, then you're gone and we will move out. I will disagree with one thing. This is the worst free agent signing. I'll give you that. Because of the money, it's different. Jamarcus Russell will always be the biggest bust, because when you miss on a quarterback the way they did, you don't just screw your money up. You set your franchise back a dozen years on the field when you miss on a franchise quarterback. So Wilkins is the worst free agent signing in Raider history. Jamarcus to me, will forever be the biggest bust in franchise history, just because the quarterback position is so important. But anyway, man, real quick, I didn't get a chance yesterday. Another rough day. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy, Hulk Hogan was a rough week for the 80s, my friend. Mm-hmm. Let's hope it gets better. Like I said, let's get through training camp into September so I can see some real football. And unfortunately, I hate to be right again about Christian Wilkins, but damn it, it had to be done. Good luck with him, whatever happens. Let's move on and get it right on the field. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, great phone call. It's Chris always leading us off here. Opens up a line for you, 702-365-9200. Thank you, Chris. One other thing I want to, if we could sit here and talk about the worst contracts in Raider history, and why do we want to do that? Because we have to do it. We have to talk about bad contracts over the decades here because there's been a number of them, but they're not tied to this new regime. They're not. And you have to have confidence here. And Mike Mayock and Reggie McKenzie and Dave Ziegler, right, and Tom Telesco, they all went out there and tried to get the best players at the best time that they thought fit the organization at its best. And a lot of these contracts did not work out well. Even the ones that did work out well in some of the signings didn't work out well, really. Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, who I mentioned, they were here for a really short period of time, had a great impact, but what more do you want to say? Mo Morton tweeted this out. He said, with the poor returns on Raiders' top free agent signings in recent years, I'm fine with John Spytek's bargain bin approach for signing low-cost vets with a lot to prove. Raiders' top free agent signings. Corey Littleton, 3 years, $32 million. Yannick Ngakoue, 2 years, $26. Chandler Jones, 3 years, $51 million. Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 years, $72.7 million. Christian Wilkins, 4 years, $110 million. Gardner Minshew, 2 years, $25 million. That's a lot of money that went out the door with great intentions on bringing every player in. Great intentions. So it's interesting on what philosophy you like developing from within. I like a good free agent or two. You better believe I like a good free agent. I love the day Christian Wilkins signed here. We threw a party. Why not? We bring in a Pro Bowler in his prime. He got injured. The injury plays a major role in this. Raider Dave in Denver. Always good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you, JT. This thing just stinks of the type of stuff that we've all been a part of in the past and watching this team. I felt so deflated with Randy Moss. I couldn't believe how the look that the offensive line was going to have with Trent Williams, who completely fleeced the team. You know what? I am so happy, and God bless it, that these guys are running this team now because they are not going to let this kind of stuff happen. I think it's fantastic that they ended up taking the axe, got rid of them, going to concentrate on the way they ended up preparing by drafting two guys at that position. And it doesn't seem to me, from all the things that I've heard Max say, that he's appalled by this. He's actually bringing on everybody together who is there now. And that's all you can do, is go with who's available. And if this was going to just trudge on, it would have been a huge loss. I don't think the grievance is going to be, upheld. I think he's out of this money. I can't see this and just end up going the player's way. So I am just so proud and so happy at this new regime taking the bull by the horns, cutting loose what's going to be a cancer, and getting rid of a distraction on what is probably going to be the best training camp and preseason the Raiders have had in 4 to 5 years. This will be the first time that 5 starters of the offensive line are going to be together without injury, without contract problems, and get into the preseason and have some time together. And if you don't think it takes continuity and time together, just ask Lincoln Kennedy. Thank you, JT.
Yeah, it does. Look, man, there's a lot of contracts, and I think this camp is going really well. But, again, this is a big topic quickly. 100% Christian Wilkins healthy, on board with Spytek, Tom Brady, and Carroll, healthy, makes this team a lot better, okay? A lot better. He's a great player. He's now injured, so he's not available. So it changes the discussion. I don't think the Raider Nation needs to be down and completely negative and upset, and I'm upset. I'm upset about this, but the reason why I don't think anybody has to crumble with this news is because the player is damaged goods for now. If he turns out and he plays for the Commanders, or he ends up going to the Titans and he goes to 3 more Pro Bowls, okay. Then we're going to sit back and go, man, could we have kept him and worked through the injury? We'll never know. It's going to take a while to figure that out. But This is unfortunate because it's the type of player that I've been searching for. I grew up with Lawrence Taylor. Okay, I grew up with great players as a kid when I grew up in New York, legends. And then I got to meet legends like Jim Brown, who became a dear friend, and Fred Biletnikoff, who is so important to me. Hall of Famers. Deacon Jones took me into his home. Okay, these are big moments in my life. I've been around my whole professional football life with Hall of Famers. My partner on the radio is Eric Allen. I'll be in Canton this time next week at his gold jacket ceremony with my wife. The Raiders need those type of players here. And Christian Wilkins, I'm not saying he was going to be a Hall of Famer, but he had a nice career going until he got injured. And then after his injury, I don't know how he behaved. But I've always said this, and I got this one right. Because this is not a topic of yesterday. It's from yesteryear. No one knows a player better than the organization. When you hear these guys are free agents and they're let go and people say, oh my God, how is he a free agent? Why are they letting him go? Oh, the team, the former team knows how they practice, what time they go to bed, what nightclubs they go to. And I'm not saying there's anything with Christian Wilkins, nightclubs, strip clubs, nothing like that. But the organization knows the player. And a lot of times when they let him go and they put out a statement like the Raiders did, it's for a reason. Jump on board today. We got a couple of press conferences. I'm definitely playing Pete Carroll's in 11 minutes in its entirety. He addressed this. We got Brock Bowers in the can. I want to hear from Brock. Ashton Genty, Bill Williamson's going to join us, the longest tenured Raider insider. Ooh, he cuts right to it. He don't mess around. And Lester Hayes is our alumni today. Lester Hayes, the most influential Raider draft picks of all time, today is about the judge.
It's the morning tailgate.
They might not have all the weapons.
All right, everybody. I just got to finish a text, and I'll be right there.
Potential that Geno Smith, with what he has, is recency, but there's enough there that for me, the potential is high enough that could get this team to the double-digit win total.
The morning tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
Our machines are hot and our drinks are ice cold. PT's Taverns is your home for cold beer, delicious bites, huge jackpots, and the best happy hour in town. With over $117 million in payouts this year, you don't want to miss out on these winnings. Plus, join us for Vegas's best happy hour, 5 to 7 p.m. and 12 to 2 a.m. daily for half off all drinks, even the good shit. With over 70 taverns, there's always a PT's near you. To find yours, visit ptstaverns.com today.
Hey, Chuck, I hear you guys say the phrase no prepayment penalty. So what's that mean?
Most lenders are
Yes, right there.
for a period of time to collect as much interest as they can, and they charge you a big fee if you want to pay back early. We don't do that at Dollar Loan Center. If you pay back your loan in 1 or 2 days, that's all the interest you paid. No other fees at all. Major savings.
So it's in my best interest to pay off early.
Exactly, and we encourage that. Your interest.
All right, guys, how we doing? We got 429 in here with Twitter and YouTube. Nicely done. Hey, Cisco, we need another Sam Adams run stopper. We do. I'm going to get into Tyree. Tyree is not a run stopper. I know you know that, but Tyree's got to play well. Got to play well.
Start Tuesday, July 29th against the Reno Aces, the AAA affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Wednesday, bring your club to the game. Thursday,
Jonah Laulu. Jonah Laulu from Centennial High School in Vegas is getting big run here. Pete Carroll loves him. A lot of people I talk to love him. I don't know much about him. I mean, he played locally here, and he's a good player, but he's going to be asked to step up. Went to Oklahoma, obviously played at Centennial here in Vegas, and he's going to have to play well. And J.J. Pegues, 6'2", 325, the rookie from Mississippi. He was drafted. I mean, he's got to play well too. I don't know about Adams at linebacker. He's not a pure linebacker. He's a box safety. who can play linebacker. If he was in a pinch and he had to come down and play linebacker, if Jamal Adams makes the team, he's got to stay healthy because Pete Carroll brought him here and John, and he ends up starting at safety, which means either Jeremy Chin or Isaiah Palomal are not going to start, then it'll be interesting. If he's a player that comes in a system where he's not starting but he's playing a lot, then you can line him up closer in the box and do a lot with this Patrick Graham scheme.
Where things are done the right way, with integrity, experience, and authenticity. We are champions for the underdog.
Look at this show on Twitter, man. Other shows mailing it in the summer. We're going hard, man. Come on. Bobby, is there? So you got, I'm going to throw to the Rappaport.
So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Sam and Ash, 702-303-0333. Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
Anyway, in the 35, if we're going to do Carol, we should do it pretty quick. We're going to get into the towel.
Ew, what's that smell? It smells like rotten eggs. There could be a leak in your neighborhood. Now what do I do? If you suspect a leak, move fast, call 911 and sound this gas. I don't have natural gas in my home. Gas lines are buried all around, so even if you don't have gas, I know, call 911 and Southwest Gas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by PT's, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Although this 95-yard interception return was denied by a penalty, number 37 Lester Hayes is a prime factor in the resurgence of the Raider defense.
And cornerback Lester Hayes, number 37, picked off passes.
Lester Hayes today is our featured most influential alumni, the Judge. Oh, my God, what a great friend and what a great player. And I can actually say I love that human being, the Judge. Two-time Super Bowl champion, NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 1980, a four-time first-team All-Pro. Everything about him says walk into the Hall of Fame. How is Lester Hayes not in the Hall of Fame when his teammates are? That's the big argument I have. How do you have a Hall of Fame without Lester Hayes? But Mike Haynes is in there. Eric Allen in a different era. Eric's a great player. He had 54 interceptions. Lester had 39 total. Lester was one of the most dominant players in the league for close to a decade. And I'll get more and more into him. If you got a phone call on Lester today, every day we're going to give you an alumni or two as we look at the most influential of all time. He was drafted in the 5th round, the 126th pick. And this is a great story. If you look back at what Lester did in his career, it's a glorious career. It's one of the great careers in the history of the Raiders. But this was a guy who was a 5th round pick and played outside linebacker, D-end, and safety at Texas A&M. And the Raiders turned him into a cornerback. The Raiders selected Hayes in the 5th round of the 1977 NFL draft. He played in 149 games with 134 starts, 39 interceptions, 4 pick sixes. In 1980, he picked off 13 passes for 273 yards and a touchdown. Key member of 2 Super Bowl teams, Super Bowl 15 and 18. And he tied the mark of Willie Brown for all-time team record with 39. He was named the AP Defensive Player of the Year in 1980 and was selected to 5 Pro Bowls. For everybody who says who's the next Raider in the Hall of Fame, him. It should be him. For those who love Plunkett, Plunkett and Lester were on the same 2 Super Bowl teams. Lester Hayes' stats are overwhelming at the position. And this has always been a rough one for me on why isn't Lester in the Hall of Fame. I've struggled with this one for quite some time. But most of the show today is going to be about Christian Wilkins and the fact that he is no longer with the team. Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero and Adam Schefter all had the story. Here's what Rappaport said.
Wild situation for the Las Vegas Raiders. Here I am at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facility. We're talking about the Raiders. Why? Christian Wilkins just got released. Sources say Wilkins, after 1 year of his 4-year, $110 million contract, blockbuster contract, one of the biggest in free agency last year, has been informed of his release. He has made $40+ million fully guaranteed anyway. The team is attempting to void some of the remaining guarantees. We'll see what happens with that, if there's a grievance, how it proceeds here. But here's what we know. Christian Wilkins has for sure played his last down with the Las Vegas Raiders. It has been an ongoing saga. The team wanted him to have foot surgery to repair that foot after the first surgery did not take. He refused, did not want to have the surgery. That essentially for the team was not a way forward. Without the surgery, hard to imagine he would have played this year. The team has already paid him $40+ million. They decided just to move on. The new regime, it is just not worth it. So they officially move on from Christian Wilkins, who now becomes a free agent, and certainly one of the more stunning moves early on this season.
All right, so Ian Rappaport is reporting, not JT the Brick in the third person, about he refusing a surgery and getting into the weeds and the details of this. So again, that gets complicated when someone says they're recommending that. You deal with that with your doctor, but you're not playing professional football and trying to get back. And why didn't his foot heal the first time? A lot of people had this injury and they've healed easier. I don't know. I don't know if he didn't rehab it correctly. What happened? Did they get him in the boot, or did he come out of his boot too early? We don't know. That's all going to come out because a grievance has been filed. But we're trying to figure out what the Raiders do next. Big D in Walnut Creek on the flagship. What's happening, D?
Hey, JT, before I get to Lester Hayes, real quick on Christian Wilkins. This just, when I heard about this, it just gave me Trent Brown vibes and what happened with him. And yeah, this is 100% on Christian Wilkins, but it still brings a negative light to the Raider banner, even though this wasn't, this regime wasn't a part of it. Or neither was Trent Brown. It still brings a bad look to under the Raiders, and and I hate that for the organization. But we can't seem to buy or draft a defensive tackle for some reason. And hindsight being 2020, we took Tyree Wilson's 2 picks ahead of Jalen Carter. It is what it is, and that's we just got to work around it and find our way through it, and we will. But Lester Hayes, this guy, oh my God, unbelievable! My favorite back in the day. When I had season tickets, I'd go there. I wouldn't focus on who was trying to get to the quarterback. I was watching who he was battling. And his battles with John Jefferson were legendary.
Yeah.
Lester was a thorn in the side of Eric Coryell. And yeah, in 1980, he had the greatest season of any defensive back, maybe even defensive player ever. 13 regular season interceptions, 5 in the playoffs, and 4 were called back because of penalties on other players. And yes, he absolutely deserves a trip to Canton, without a doubt. So he deserves it, and I hope he gets there someday. So that's all I get to say, GT.
Thanks, Big D. Appreciate the call. For those who, and Lester Hayes is just unbelievable. Hayes was converted by John Madden from safety to corner, and he cried when he told the story. He said it before. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. He wanted to stay in the league, and he got converted after being chosen by the Raiders in the 5th round of the 77 draft. And then he was known to be one of the greatest all time in bump and run coverage, very similar to Al Davis's style when he went out and got Willie Brown from Denver. So Lester was a great pick, just a beautiful human being. You can still find him signing autographs all over the West Coast and in Texas because he needs to make money. And he should be very prideful of that. He was very similar to Cliff Branch. They would sell their autograph at a Walmart outside a Raider image because they didn't get paid in their era much money at all. So how they were able to sustain with their very small pensions was they had to get jobs and they had to sign their name. So from time to time, I'll see on my Facebook page or social media that Lester Hayes is in Bakersfield and he's signing autographs. And I'm like, I put it out to everybody. How cool is it to stand in line and get a conversation with Lester Hayes and an autograph? He truly is one of the special Raiders. Open lines on Christian Wilkins. And again, I'm not talking about Twitter tough guys and people that want to slide into DMs. You better have an opinion on this one today. It's a big Raider topic in the Raider Nation. I know it's a Friday. Some people are heading out to the lake, to the beach. I know you got plans, but you all had an opinion on Christian Wilkins. What do you want to say about this signing today? And there's a couple of people, and even Big D, who's a diehard fan, Black Hole, to say, you feel bad for the Raiders. I don't feel bad for John Spytek. John Spytek is built for this. John Spytek has a plan. And his plan now is to replace Christian Wilkins at defensive tackle with the draft picks that he's developing with Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll and Rob Leonard. I put out a tweet today of Rob Leonard. When I got there, I went over to the Raiders radio tent. I was sitting there with Vinny and Vince, and I took out my phone. You're only allowed to record a certain part of practices. Very strict on that. So I was recording Rob Leonard working with Max and Tyree Wilson and everybody there. And I put out a tweet on Rob Leonard. I'm just really high on him as a coach. He's really good. And you should just see he's small compared to Max and Tyree. And before I get to the next call, I wanted to share this with you on Tyree Wilson. I had dinner with my sons last night. My wife's out of town. I'm picking her up today. Went back and visited her family, and I took my sons out to dinner last night in the neighborhood, Mastriani's. Pete Mastriani, what a great Italian restaurant. It would stand up anywhere in New York, Boston, Florence, Italy. Just fantastic. My boys love it. And, we're just having some chicken parm and talking to my boys about sports, and they're Raider fans. They were born Raider fans. And we were talking about Tyree Wilson. And one of my sons said to me, he goes, well, Dad, he can't stop the run. If they put him in against the run against Kansas City, they'll just throw him to the side and Pacheco will run right through him for a touchdown. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. He's not a run stopper. He's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be an edge rusher, Tyree Wilson. Let this be said here and clip it. You know those Raider websites that like to clip my opinions? I want to throw this one out. This today, July 25th, 2025 is Tyree Wilson Day. This is the moment for him today. Christian Wilkins is out. He is guaranteed to play more snaps because of this move. Not on first and second down at stopping the run. He might get in on second and 11. There's going to be times at second and 13. It's obviously passing. Bring Tyree in. Let him go over the nose tackle. Let him bull rush and put his hands up. I'm all for that. If Tyree Wilson can't take advantage of this scenario, he will not be here long term. This is his moment because Malcolm Kuntz ain't moving and Max ain't moving. And if Tyree just wants to be a depth piece in case Kuntz or Max, God forbid, get hurt, because he'd be a good guy in a backup role, how can he get on the field more? This is his moment. He is not a pure defensive tackle. I am not saying he should play defensive tackle, but he will rush the passer from the interior. And if Christian Wilkins was healthy, he would not be coming off the field on any down, or unless he's burnt and tired. And Wilkins is now gone. Gangsta Raider on Raider Nation Radio. Go ahead, please.
What's up, JT? I just want to say this, as far as I'm concerned, it's disappointing because, I represent from a fan perspective. You know what I'm saying? As far as the fans, I was looking forward to seeing Max, Kuntz, and Wilkins out there, at the same time. We didn't get to see not one down of that. You know what I'm saying? That's the disappointment. You know what I mean? But I applaud the organization because, like you said, we need Pro Bowlers. They went out there, they got him, they signed him to a major deal. But who knew he was going to get injured on a fluke play like the one he got injured on, and the rehab will go like it did. But I salute the organization for, signing them. And also I salute the organization for seeing what was going on. We're seeing the writing on the wall and cutting ties as soon as possible so we wouldn't go on with this lingering into the season. We can cut ties as soon as possible, let him know he ain't going to be there so everybody know he's not going to be there, and we can go on, move forward, and try to find a replacement. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But also, I haven't been this disappointed about an injury, almost since like when Bo Jackson. Remember when Bo Jackson got injured and that hip injury took him out? That's kind of like the same feeling I'm having. You know what I mean? But, as far as I'm concerned, you didn't take the injury because it's supposed to be the 6 to 8 week recovery time. And here it is, 9-10 months later, he still hasn't recovered. So I say walk the plank. You know what I'm saying? We got to get going, keep it Raider, but it's just disappointing, you know what I'm saying, from a fan perspective. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All right, y'all, I'm gone. Keep it gangster.
Yeah, and then from a fan perspective, I don't tell you how to behave as a fan, where you sit, where you go, when you fly in, but it's a good time to get behind the organization here. The one thing that I've tried to, and the older I get, I think I've kind of softened on this. I don't ever make fun of a player personal because of an injury. I talked to a good friend of mine today on this topic. He doesn't know much about Christian Wilkins, but he said, how'd this happen? And I said, he got hurt. And it was a fluke. A lot of injuries in the NFL are flukes. Guys fall into knees accidentally. Guys get hurt. Christian Wilkins got hurt. What could have been a great career with the Raiders is officially over. And we're talking about it today. Brought to you by the 872 laborers led by Tommy White, building this city on time and on budget.
It's the morning tailgate. When you look at Pete, he's as transparent as they come. His comments regarding the secondary, it's the most impressive group that he's ever coached. Physically. I mean, you can't help but take a step back and being, okay, this isn't hyperbole. This is what this guy believes. There's a lot of coaches in the NFL that won't make claims like that. We're going to win a bunch. He's at a point in his career where he's afforded that opportunity to speak how he wants to do and speak through us to his team.
The morning tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
15 million students are missing 2 or more days of school each month in the United States. This is called chronic absenteeism. Communities and schools
All right,
in
I
Western
need to
Nevada
stay
provides free
hydrated.
resources to help students miss fewer classes, even when transportation, housing, or healthcare.
So
are
I think we're having a good
impacted.
Christian
Remember,
Wilkins
being
conversation.
present
I think we're having a
This
fair
message is sponsored
conversation
by a
on that.
partnership with Strengthen Our Community and Communities in Schools, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Some personal injury lawyers talk about less fee, but when you read the fine print, you'll discover they have so many restrictions, it's really an empty promise. At the Richard Harris Law Firm, every client settlement gets our less fee guarantee, which means we'll never take more in fees than our client gets. No restrictions apply. Who you
Yeah, when you
hire
get the big money, it
matters.
hurts that much
The
more.
Richard Harris Law Firm.
You don't want to trade for John Jenkins. We need to let one of these young defensive tackles develop into a good player. And JJ Pettis or Tonka Hemingway.
Where you design your own custom F1 car in a fully immersive tech-powered space. Then take the wheel with F1 Drive, the only karting
Zach
track
Carter. I mean, there's some guys here that can play. I just don't know if they're any good. You know, we don't know if these rookies are any good until you put them in pads.
Tickets now at GrandPrixPlaza.com.
The Westgate Las Vegas Super Contest College is all new for this season. This is the biggest college handicapping challenge in Las Vegas. Select 7 teams against the spread each week to earn the most points during the college football season. The top 10
I'd like
winners
to
in the
take a little
contest
bit
get
of a
paid,
break.
and there's 100% payback and no rake. Entries will be
Yeah,
accepted.
they ain't
July 1st
signing
through
me,
August
man. I'm
29th.
a veteran here with the Raider
Only at the
Nation, man.
Westgate Las Vegas. All winnings are aggregate payouts. For official rules, visit
My
Westgate
bee
Las
sting
Vegas.
is going down, Bobby. My bee sting is almost like a baseball, yeah.
Banking should be personal.
I did take the Benadryl. It did help it go
is.
down.
We're not just another financial institution.
I mean, Snow Raider,
We're
you're not
trusted
serious
partner in
about Micah
savings,
Parsons.
loans, and life's
Come on,
biggest
man.
moments.
You don't have Max and Micah Parsons. You have one or the other, and then you build.
Together. Westar Credit Union.
Imagine if
We're in
Spytech.
Nevada, built for you.
Imagine if Spytech can pull the trigger on Trey Hendrickson or Micah
and get
Parsons.
started today.
I doubt it, but you never know.
Sierra Air Conditioning and Plumbing has proven that we can solve problems quickly, completely, and affordably, which is great. But we also like to
Where's
prevent
our
problems
Charger buddy?
before
I don't
they
know how to
happen.
unblock
It
him. There's
saves
our
you
Charger
money,
fan.
so you can live your life
And
comfortably.
Bobby
and
said
without
maybe he
worry.
got a
And the way
job.
we do it is with
A lot of guys
savings
who are
and
watching this
maintenance
who have
membership,
jobs.
or SAM plan
Big
for
jobs.
For
Yeah, Bobby
$16
says
a
it's
month, you
me.
get 4 yearly visits, a 15-point cooling system tune-up, a 15-point heating
Yeah,
system
but you know, the
tune-up,
one,
a
your
65-point
space piece, you
plumbing
say Donnell
inspection,
Hunter on a
water heater
1-year
flush,
deal.
one diagnostic or
Come on,
emergency
man. We don't
service
want
trip
1-year
for plumbing
deals. We
your
want to
air,
draft
15%
defensive
off
tackles who are going to be
repairs,
pretty
and a
good.
lot more,
You know,
including
you want to
peace of
draft
mind
them and then
all
hopefully give them a
year.
contract
Check out the
after
long list
their
of
rookie deals up. You don't want to be chasing defensive tackles who are 34. That doesn't normally work.
7099. License number 0078689 and 081121.
Sierra Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Service that soars above the rest.
Are you looking for the best fit high school for your child? Cristo Rey St. Viator College Preparatory High School is accepting applications for the 2025-2026 school year. We offer high-quality college preparatory coursework, one-on-one academic counseling, college counseling, mental health counseling, and even an alumni advisor. Students work once a week at one of our partner companies to help pay for their tuition, so families only pay between $25 and $250 a month. Visit us on the web to learn more and apply today. CristoRayStViator.org.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Super Sunday, what a day. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's like a dream come true. It's unbelievable. Yes, and we're going to win. We are going to win, no question.
Lester Hayes, one of the most impactful Raider draft picks of all time, part of our summer series, as we look back at the greatest Raiders who were ever drafted by the team. If you weren't drafted by the Raiders, you're not involved in this. And we're going through one legend a day, or one great player, or a player who played and had an impact here. And that's definitely one of them. So that's what we're doing. And we're mixing in the Christian Wilkins talk. I said again about Tyree Wilson. Tyree's got to have a big year because they weren't able. They drafted Tyree too high at number 7. Everybody knows that. You can't get rid of him because you drafted him too high. He's too valuable. You want him to develop, but after 3 or 4 years, if he doesn't develop, he'll be gone. And I don't want him to be gone. I want him to be great. Now he's got Pete Carroll, Patrick Graham, and John Spytek and Tom Brady in his ear. I mean, he's got everything to be better. So he's got to be better. He's going to play more now because he's got to rush the passer. You line him up wherever you are. Just tell him to get to the quarterback and put his hands up if he doesn't get there. Christian Wilkins was pretty good. He could stop the run and he could get to the quarterback. Stoner dude, good to hear from you, man. After Vamps closed, I'm sure you're playing gigs around town. What's happening?
Yeah, I'll talk about the gigging right here at the end of my call, JT, and I appreciate that. First of all, that's one of my favorite all-time Raiders sound bites when Lester Hayes says, we're going to win. I mean, what more confidence do you need than that, man? Mm-hmm. And he's one of the great DBs of all time for the Raiders, and that's what the Raiders are known for. Willie Brown, Charles Woodson, Mike Hayes, Lester Hayes. So, yeah, and man, JT, you brought up the whole thing about that he signed at Walmart just about a year ago. He was right down the street from my house. I'm like, I can't believe Lester Hayes is a few blocks away from my house, and we're going to go get a signature and meet Lester Hayes. So if anybody gets a chance to do that, definitely go out, man, and go get that. As far as the defensive tackle position, JT, I'm like you. It's like, how come we just, for all these years, can't find our elite defensive tackle? We can't draft them. We can't go get them in free agency. And every time we try, it always somehow backfires. You know, and it reminds me to the draft. I mean, when I'm very stoked that we got Ashton Genty. That was the right choice, the best decision for the team. But you know what? When everyone was talking about why shouldn't we get Mason Graham, I'm like, you know what? If you could get the best defensive tackle at the top of the draft and you still got a Christian Wilkins, you just don't know what's going to happen. You always have the best players, if not anything for depth at least, because we need more. We need as many of those guys as possible. Lastly, JT, I am cranking my Aussie. I'm cranking my Black Sabbath. Still mourning and always will. Got a few big celebration kind of concerts we're putting together. I'll let you know about to honor the great Ozzy Osbourne. And this Saturday, tomorrow, I'll be playing with my band Vox at the Dive Bar on Maryland Parkway. Talk to you soon, man.
Ooh, the Dive Bar on Maryland Parkway. Bobby, come on, help me with that. I've been to a good dive bar or two. Stoner Dude's playing. Where's the Dive Bar?
I know what the Dive Bar is. It's on Flamingo and Maryland Parkway. You remember where the old Buffalo Exchange used to be?
Yeah.
About 2 doors down to the right.
The Dive Bar.
I think it holds maybe 100. Maybe.
Nice.
It's one of those little strip ball bars. It's cool, though. Cheap drinks.
I love a good dive bar. I mean, who doesn't love a great dive bar? Now, there's a difference between kind of a low-end bar and a dive bar. A dive bar is a dive bar. And, I went to college in upstate New York. We had some great dive bars where I went to college.
No, this is a dive bar. No lie.
Okay, good. Nothing wrong with it. The beer's ice cold at a dive bar. Everyone I've been to. All right, we are busy. I got a lot of people I got to get to on the phones. Bill Williamson will join us. Also coming up here at the top of the hour, and I'm going to say goodbye to our YouTube bricklayers. They're called the bricklayers for a reason. They're here every day laying bricks for me on YouTube. Appreciate that. Pete Carroll's press conference. You'll hear it in its entirety right here at the top of the hour. He said a lot of interesting things, really important for the rest of camp.
East Coast versus West Coast.
That was a good week, man. We had a good week on the radio and on the live stream, man. We did. Appreciate everybody. Everybody have a safe weekend. Everybody get some beach time in, get in the lake, get in the water. celebrate with some Modelo's, some Tito's, whatever you're going to have. Appreciate everybody. Next week, we got shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I'm heading to Canton for Eric Allen on Thursday for the Hall of Fame. Have a great weekend, everybody.